Well, hello, YouTube. Welcome back to Silva Speaks. I'm Captain Silva, and I know it's been a long time since I've uploaded a video, but I've been doing some thinking since then. I've been thinking about what's the most important thing I can share. At this point in my life, at 50 years old, what's the most important thing I can talk about? You know, about a year ago, there were some things that were on my mind, interests and hobbies of mine, but that's all they were, interests and hobbies. They weren't the most important, the number one thing. And you know what I found out? The most important thing I can share is my faith. My faith in Christ, my faith in God, my belief in Him, my trust in Him, and my daily struggle to live a life that would bring Him honor. So that's what I want to do. From now on, that's going to be the primary focus of this channel, is to share things about God, to share His Word, to share thoughts and ideas. And I want to hear from you too. I want to hear from you in the comments about what strikes you, about what you're working through, about any kind of ideas you have or the way the Spirit speaks to you about a short message that I share. I want this to be a community thing. So I want to start today. I want to look at the book of John. We're going to start at the very beginning of the book of John, and I just have a few things that I want to share with you that came to mind and came to heart as I was looking at those passages earlier today. So let's look at it. In the beginning, the Word already existed. The Word was with God, and the Word was God. He existed in the beginning with God. God created everything through Him, and nothing was created except through Him. The Word gave life to everything that was created, and His life brought light to everyone. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness can never extinguish it. You know, I was thinking about how when I had my first apartment years ago, and we had our first storm come rolling in just before bedtime. And I mean, it was thunder booming hard, and wind was blowing and everything, and the lights flickered. You know how sometimes they just kind of flicker a little bit, it goes off, and then it comes back on a couple of seconds later or a second later. And then you think, uh-oh, we might lose power. What's the first thing you think about? Where's the flashlights? I remember scrambling to try to figure out if I even owned a flashlight back then. But it's not like that now. See, I'm old now, and I've learned. And I've got a flashlight in every room. I mean, good grief, I've got oil lamps in half the rooms just in case the batteries don't work. So if the lights go out, if the storm comes rolling in and the lights go out in the middle of the night, I know exactly where to go. I know exactly where that flashlight is. I know exactly where to turn. And having light source in a dark house in the middle of the night is a game changer. We all have storms that roll through our lives. Question is, do we know right who to turn to for light in those tough times? Jesus offers the light of life to everyone who believes and accepts Him. And that light that brings life is a game changer. About 2 years ago, my father became very, very sick. And he was suffering from a form of cancer in his brain. We found out in September, and he passed in December. But our family is a family of faith. And that was a dark time in our lives. But we knew exactly who to turn to for light. And Jesus held our hand and he guided us through that process. As a matter of fact, my father was even turning to the light, to Jesus. And I could see the way that my father was handling that whole situation, that he was completely depending on Christ every step of the way, even in the darkest times. Jesus' light never fails. Reason why? The darkness cannot extinguish it. Darkness can't stop it. No darkness of this world or some of the people in it can stop the light of life. So I encourage you today to rely on Christ, to move beyond just believing in him, but having faith in him and trusting him with your life. And may he be the light that guides your path all your days. Until next time, this is Captain Silva signing off. God bless. We'll see you next time.